So, welcome to another episode of God to God podcast, where we are the gods. This week, Supreme is on holiday, so we've got a special guest. We have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Arnold, and one of the chefs here at Arnold's Way, Keith. Great food, delicious food. Everything is raw, vegan, good for you, God's food. And we are filming out of Arnold's Way in downtown Lansdale. Make sure to come by, stop by, and grab some delicious food.
Sounds good. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm a little nervous. I never. I'm taking Supreme's place. You hear that?
I think you'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. So today we're going to talk about. This is something that Supreme and I have talked about on on every single past episode we've touched on this topic.
Okay.
And it's as soon as you start getting awakened in terms of a spiritual path, and you start questioning things that have been told to you and programmed in you from an early age. This could be the big institutions about education, healthcare, government, all those organizations that tell you that they have your best interest at heart. And then your eyes get awakened, and then you start seeing patterns that you start questioning. One of the first things that always get questioned is food.
Wow.
And then there's a link to the type of food that you put into your avatar vessel, and your spiritual. So we have Arnold here who could talk about God's food, maybe share a little bit about your own
my own
journey. Yeah.
Well, I started at age 45. That's right. Well, actually, I started at age 18. No, 22. That's when it all began, but I wasn't really. It's a journey. At age 22, I was minding my own business. And what happened was I was at a pizza place, and there was another pizza place across the street. I walked across the street, and right in the middle of the street, I got stopped. I got stopped by this energy. It says, Arnold, you got to do something. The world's going crazy, and you got to be like the light for others. At the time, I thought it was Jesus, believe it or not. I thought it was that Jesus energy stopped me right in the middle of the street. It says, Arnold, you got to be the light for others, otherwise the world's going in shambles. I said to Jesus, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea. I'm just a simple guy. And there was a girl called Debbie Applebaum on the other side. I yelled out to Debbie Applebaum, did you see this person stop me? She had no idea what I was talking about.
Wow.
Because it was just an energy. Right in the middle of the street. I can never forget it. Right in the middle of the street. Says, Arnold, you gotta be the light for others. It didn't dawn on me until almost 40 years later what that meant. And what it meant was, at the time I had a raw vegan restaurant. I felt that I had to do something about it. That it was my job, based on what happened when I was 22, to save the world. So I came up with this ingenious plan. And I calculated very carefully what would it take. That I would give out, I think I said free food to 30 people. And I would do that for 20 months in a row. To 20, 30 people. Every single month I would give out free food. And I did. And I did make 8 documentaries based on what I did. The situation is, people who did the program had success, but they didn't follow through.
What do you mean by that?
They had success for that month. The thing is, the energies are out there so great that it draws them away from the true intention.
Or could another possibility be, once you start eating this food, and once you really start understanding how much better you feel once you're eating clean and from the original source, So it's no additive chemicals to kind of change the taste or whatever. Your body starts resonating at a frequency that's different than others around you.
You would think that is correct. You would think. You would think.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
So you don't think it was they just felt out of place or isolated, or they just felt different
I
everywhere
think
they went?
what happens is to this day, the energies that surround us so great to follow the protocol of entertainment rather than fuel. Which means that energy is so great from the moment we get up to our commercials to our friends. I mean, everyone around you is on a different wavelength. And if you want to be part of that wavelength of other people, you may have to go different. You may have to stand out. And 99% of people are not willing to take that risk to be
Wow.
isolated.
Yeah.
They don't want to be. So,
Yeah, man. Because one of the things that we talk about is this is a lonely path.
path.
Because it's about self. This is a self journey. This is about your own self development.
Yeah.
And keyword there is self. No one's going to do the work for you. You have to be willing to reflect and be honest. And that's the hardest part, is really taking a look at all of the things that make up who you are now, to then get back to the originally created self that you were created as, your base self. And it's a lot of work.
And
it's great work.
In my case, I understand how the body works. I'm very well versed in Chinese medicine.
Mm-hmm.
It's me, myself, and I always want to be the state of love. That has to be really understood from the bottom of your heart, which means we're designed to be in a state of love. We're designed by God's creation, which means the body's given a protocol for truth, the body gives it a protocol for lie. That's really hard to grasp. Which means in order for it to be a truth, it has to meet 6 factors. If it doesn't meet these 6 factors, the body does not recognize it. Glucose, proteins, vitamins, fatty acids, minerals, and water, incomplete package.
Slow down. I really want you to say that slower.
Yeah. Ready? I'd say it pretty fast.
Yeah, slowly.
We're designed to be in a state of love at all times.
In a state of love at all times.
From the moment of birth to the moment of death. We have the innate wisdom to be in a state of love. Not only within us, but that around us. Which is really hard to understand. It is super hard to understand. Which means that love resonates with every movement we make. Every moment should be a blessing, no matter what it looks like. So
say those 6 things again.
In order for a body to recognize, we have 75 trillion cells.
75
trillion cells.
75 trillion cells.
Each cell has 24,000 life units. You know what that means?
No.
It means that one cell has more wisdom than the world to date. One of the 75, one cell knows everything about you. It knows your mother, it knows your father, it knows your sister, it knows your whole past, what's going on. And it's in one cell, and we have 75 trillion. We also have 300 trillion viruses in our system, designed to make sure that we function properly. We also have 60 billion bacteria. It's a lot going on.
Mm-hmm.
They love you beyond, which is really hard to understand. Which means they love you whatever it takes to make you happy, which is really hard to understand. Whatever it takes. So that's what the guidelines that I go by, being totally blessed all the time, as long as I stick to the protocol. What does that mean? It means the body is designed to eat food and meet 6 requirements. It has to be alkaline, which means it has to be 7.4. That's our body works on that level. If it goes up to 5.3 alkalinity, we die. Or we start getting cancer. Glucose, protein, vitamins, fatty acids, and minerals in a complete package. Only fruit and veggies have that. Which means every time we fruit, the body is super happy. Say, whoa, thank you.
And you want fruit that is as close to the original form of that fruit as possible.
As possible.
So
yes.
with seeds, likely,
yes.
you know, things like that, right?
So if you're not eating that food by God's design, the body has to adjust accordingly. Every disease is based on that. Every mental state is based on that. Every emotion, every fear factor, anger factor, everything's based on that. The body is, which means we're eating it like a dead animal. My eyes, and the body is just. I talk about fear. You're talking about anger. You're talking about abuse. You're talking about so many emotions tied to that our body takes charge of trying to deal with it.
Wow.
Yeah, so
It's amazing. Yeah, because the more raw you eat, the clearer the pathways can be. So the link between from the root to the crown, there's no blockages. There's no added bacteria or parasites that have come into your body that first need to get, excreted or taken out of the body to then have that clear.
and the body will that's its job is to clear that path.
Yeah.
Keith, you want to say anything?
Yeah, Keith, how about you? He's a vegan chef here and makes really good dishes.
But
And
we all have our issues, right?
but
Yeah.
how about creating some of the dishes? What do you think is the link in terms of just making the food, knowing that it's raw? So how about from a standpoint or a perspective of actually making the food? And I'm just the eater.
I mean, pretty much just like any job, you have to really like doing what you're doing. So I watch a lot of people, especially fast food, just smack it down, and of course, it tastes horrible. And in the beginning, when I first started here, like everybody was like, oh my god, your salads, oh my god," and I was just like, I make food, like I didn't realize, I wasn't, excuse me, open to the spirituality part and learning yet. And once I realized I was putting my love into the food and they were eating it and picking up my intentions, and then realized that I had mad intentions for food. I love going to work. I love touching food, and people will call me a chef. I just call myself a glorified food toucher, and I try to make it look good. I try to make it taste good, and that's just all I can kind of do. And I'm blessed to still be able to to come to work after having numerous surgeries. And with the food freedom here, really makes it incredible, because everything I say to Arnold, he's always like, try it, go with it. So I mean, it just makes it so much easier to want to try something, you know what I mean? And then even with the raw, once I started eating nonsense, I came back in here and I was just like, oh my god, like my body was just like I found heaven. And just for that minute, just putting something wet and alive in my mouth was just like, wow, my body was like, hello, this is what you're forgetting. But it's a pleasure to be able to work with food, and I spent my whole life learning how to kill it. You know what I mean? Let me kill your food. And now, I mean, Arnold's trying to teach me, less seasonings, and try to make it, cleaner and more, easier for your body. So I'm still fighting what I learned and was taught, and that's the hard part. Trying to scale it down and not try to mask it so much, let it be what it is. And in my head, I'm fighting dehydration versus raw, because to me, I'm like, why are you trying to take the juices out when your body thrives on hydration? So I'm learning, and then I learned, for myself, my pain level is a lot. You would think it's more when I work, but it's less because I'm concentrating on what I'm putting in to be able to come to work. So for me, it's more important to be able to come to work, even if I'm hurt. Like most people would be like, you have disability, you got a day off, man. You're on vacation. It's like I still want to come and mess with food. Like I love it. And then to see somebody walk away and be like, man, like working in kitchens, I never really got to see the people leave the restaurant. I work behind walls where I looked at a ticket and we sent it out, and the servers were like, "Thank you, great." Nothing came back. The chef was like, "Great job, well done." But like now, I look at people coming in here, and I have to interact. I have to see their faces. If it's horrible, you can, oh my god, you can see their face. I'm sorry. I'll get it better now. But I mean, it's a
And
whole nother level.
yeah, even just to touch on that. So, like you said, you're a professional food toucher. Doesn't not in an unsanitary way, but he was more metaphorical. But the thing is, it's kind of like healing, and
on both sides,
exactly.
on his
And
side and on where he serves it and the person who eats it.
I
It's
came,
not, yeah.
I came in here one day and I'm standing behind the counter and I'm looking outside, and it was like the best feeling I had in my whole world. And I'm like, why do I feel like this? Why do I? And I'm like, and I looked down. I was like, because I'm working. I'm at work, and it was just my whole inside was just like heaven. I was just like not one inkling of depression at all. And I'm like, wow, this is. I needed to get back. Like this is what it was. Nothing, just being there with a knife in my hand was just blew me away, and I was like, wow, okay.
and
All right.
also, just to even go back to Arnold, you were talking about people doing this for 20 days or 2 months or whatever. It's got to be so rewarding when you see someone who does transform.
It does.
That's
But
got to
remember, a lot of
be,
times people do not stick to the program.
yeah. Like we'll talk about
Yes.
them. Let's talk about the positive
Yes,
ones,
you forget. Yes.
and then we'll talk about the reasons why maybe someone does not want to continue on with it just because of pressures and things. But how does that feel when you do have, the food that you made for people who could have had chronic illnesses or maybe just wanted to change their lives, or we're getting more spiritual and actually being more intentional and mindful about the types of food they're eating, come here and you just see a change. And I mean, for some people it could be a week, for some people it might be longer, maybe a couple months, maybe even half a year. How does that feel?
It's on my end. It's neat watching people come in, especially. I mean, from my background, health food, you're a health food, yeah, whatever, and then people are coming in, Arnold, help me, Arnold, help me, help me, help me, help me, to see that aspect, and then to see them actually, a month later and they're thriving and they don't look as sick, and their hair, their skin, everything's changing, and like honestly, when I first started doing this, I started glowing, and I didn't realize men glowed. I was very embarrassed and shy, and oh my god, what is wrong with me? Like everybody always stared at me, but now you're really staring at me. Like I'm freaking glowing, man. Turn it off, turn it off. And then I started eating crappy, and I was like, hey, where'd my glow go? Hey, I want it back. And as you can tell, I'm really not glowing like my two fellas here.
We're probably in the light.
But yeah, it was like I did not know, and I didn't know it was a thing. And all of a sudden, everybody's like, "Oh my God, look at you!" And I started feeling like a Hollywood, like I was a star. And I'm like, I'm just eating, I'm just eating salads. I'm eating half decent, and And then Arnold, every time I do something, Arnold's like, "What are you doing?" Well, I'm going on. Get in the chair. Get in the chair. I had enough. But I definitely, I mean, that the food is getting me out here. So it's getting me out of the chair. If I eat something horrible, I'm not getting out of the chair.
Mm-hmm.
So
amazing. That's got to be. Go ahead, Arnold.
Yeah. What you have to tap on is when you're eating raw fruits and vegetables, you're eating God's love, which means your whole being changes dramatically as being blessed. You constantly do it. But you're eating food that the body does not want, especially like a dead animal. The body reacts accordingly. Depression, anger, mood swings, easy upset, anxiety, so many factors that the body is trying to deal with the way what you ate and how to process it. When you're eating a dead animal, that's been horrifically killed. Where it's like an animal from its mother, from its father, and literally tear it in pieces, and your eating is a piece of it's a piece. And the body has to deal with hours and hours and hours and hours to process food. You got to take a toll on our body.
And I never believed it. I was not eating meat, and driving, please go ahead, go in front of me, first piece of meat, and I caught myself, and I'm like, you haven't flipped out in a couple of years. Like,
Yeah.
were you screaming, oh, you ate a piece of meat, and like everything, Arnold, like, I just started opening my ears and more to let it all, let it in, not just let it in and out, to let it stick.
Yeah, and especially when you are getting more spiritually awakened to things, it becomes harder to eat animals. I mean, I'm new to this. I don't have 40 plus years, and Keith, however long you've been on this path, but I mean, recently it's like I don't want to kill. I don't want an animal to be killed to feed me when I know that I've been told I need to eat that kind of food, but I really don't. So why are they so hell bent on telling me I need that when God's food that has God's love in it is way better for me and actually puts me and awakens me from a sleep state to start being mindful of just the inner power I have and my connection to other people. Now, when you do wake up and you start realizing these patterns, this is what we always talk about. There's no way to go back. They're just things that happen naturally. There's no guide to spiritual awakening. It's different for everybody on their path. But there are certain things and certain patterns that happen that align, and people have similar stories of, oh, when it happened to me, I realized that I needed to be isolated a little bit from people. I needed to be more aware of where I was spending my energy. My diet changed. The food that I was eating for years didn't taste the same anymore. And if that's all part of it. And it just makes you become closer to your base created self to then ultimately be equipped to be a source of help for people. So it can be tough if you don't have a community to go and help, but there's ways you can do it. Connecting with people.
You think you need a community to support you, or you think
No, in terms of
you're
helping.
strong enough to deal with the outside forces and say they exist, but it's not for me?
I think so. Yeah, I think so, because once you do have a certain level of energy stored up in terms of just your meditation, your breathing, your discipline, you're in tune with your gut health, and your channels are opening up. Now you start going, oh, I was scared and anxious around these people. Now, I'm not saying it in a way of pointing a finger and, oh, I'm so much better, or that kind of thought. It's more of a, oh, I just realized I do have a God in me. I am a God. There is and not a God in like that, not in that kind of way, but it's thinking about it in terms of understanding your self power within, and you are in control of your life more than you think you are. And once you realize that you've been brainwashed to think that these institutions are the ones in control of your life, but then you go, no, they're not. That's when you are so free, because you've reclaimed your independence in terms of how you want to live.
Supreme turned me into that Christ consciousness.
Christ consciousness. That's right.
Like, started opening my eyes up, and first, like, it was all floating over my head. A lot of it still floats over my head, but a lot of it I'm starting to see and catch. And I mean, for just being new, it was like, what are you flooding me with, man? Slow down, slow down.
How do you get that consciousness, and how does it go out? How do you reach out to others? That's the hard part. There's so many people out there just oblivious to this conversation.
Oh,
they
yeah.
don't even recognize it as part of normalcy. It's almost like wacko.
Well, what they'll say is this is hokey.
Wacko.
If they are in a more conservative Christian circle, big quote unquote big religion, whatever. I shouldn't just say Christian, but big religious kind of thing.
Or
Demonic is a word they'll throw out. Hokey. There's no way you can cure your body. There's just no that. It's all done with a pre-programmed position they have, which is they want to defend that so bad because they've built this perfect yes, and they've built this perfect world around their perfect little lives and yeah, like who don't tell me exactly. And it can be tough because I mean, this is gonna this path shatters people's conceptions about the world. I mean, you're never the same person. You can't really see things the same again, and so you do have to be mindful that yeah, this stuff is kind of it's earth shaking, it's life changing, and so one is being grateful. So having gratitude for one, having the self knowledge. So you get to a place where you go, I am so grateful that I can actually understand these concepts. And I am so grateful that I can take it upon myself to get back in line to my base created self, that the gratitude will trump all the negativity. So when you're thinking about, oh no, these people look at me weird, these people don't include me, they look at me like I'm not a part of their club, or I'm always alone, I can't find anyone, I can't find a mate, I can't find a person to be a close friend with. Well, guess what? If you have the gratitude that just overflows you, that stuff doesn't even matter. It starts to dissipate. It's not even something you think about, because gratitude is the thing that really lends itself as an aid on the path of this, the journey that you're on. So once you have that, nothing could really harm you. Nothing could really touch
I like
you.
that because I have me, myself, and I always a state of gratitude and blessings.
Yeah.
Which means I don't depend on anybody to substantiate my thought process. I have me and my love for myself. Whatever else happens doesn't really matter, concern me. The thing is, how do you teach these thought processes to the average Joe who's still caught up in baseball, still caught up in eating out, still caught up in the finances of life? That's it's a big undertaking, and I'm constantly striving for that. Nate is like, believe it or not, he's a blessing to me because he has his words out there. He understands it. He understands that energy. So now it has to come from. We have to teach. How does it learn that from deep within rather than depend on others? That's why I put God into the situation as a real understanding. But these are really words that are really hard to understand and grasp and become that a blessing just by your existence.
So that's a really good point, because if we were talking about things like, you guys ever hear this thing called an algorithm? Okay, so the algorithm, if you look at them, things that most people get fed on their phones or what they watch, media and all that, is always low bass, low vibrational things. It's either sex, drugs, stimulation of some kind.
That's a good point. We get caught up in that.
We get caught up in that.
And it's shame on you. Shame.
And also even music, movies. Although movies can be a good source of, there's some really good, at least you can pick the movie you want to watch, Yeah. But then also meet commercials, ads, they're always pushing. When's the last time ask yourself this question. When's the last time I saw a commercial for a alkaline-based, raw cafe or shop around me that I could go and get food on a global or national scale?
There isn't any.
I'll wait. None. But how many McDonald's commercials? How many Burger King commercials? How many pizza commercials? How many bags of chips floating, Fritos, Lay's, all this stuff? How many of that do you see?
That's considered as norm.
Yeah.
Which means the average person, they look upon that food as real food.
It's not real food.
But the average person does not consider like fruit as real food. They consider that as good, but not part of their daily routine.
They see it as a burden.
I was just told to not feed my grandson fruit for breakfast 3 days ago. No fruit. No.
Let me guess. Cereal?
Yeah.
Cereal with milk is the worst
Waffles,
thing.
pancakes, sausage.
Breakfast.
And then he's throwing fits, and
Yep, because that food is
yeah.
very. They know how to make it to
the
be
whole
addictive.
summer I had him, he was great. He was drinking smoothies. He had watermelon juice, coconut water. He had bowls of fruit. No meltdowns, no freakouts. But as soon as he gets, back with his parents and regular food,
Gets
here we
all
go.
antsy and all that. And then there was a
That's hard to
study.
break that cycle.
It is very hard,
Very
and
hard.
I'm so glad you bring that up because
Very hard to break that cycle.
I think it was either Harvard or Yale or something. They did a study on whether food addiction was tougher to beat than actual drug addiction. And guess what? It was way harder.
Way harder.
Way harder
Way
to beat food addiction than actual
Most people
drugs.
don't even realize you even have it.
Yeah. My gosh. So this is a big deal. It's not some light thing. And when you do start questioning things in your reality, I'm so thankful that gut health and what you put into this body, because you realize it's an avatar in this 3D plane. I'm glad it's the first thing that gets questioned, because that's the only way that gives you the energy to propel and clean up the blockages in your chakras.
Well, what keeps you motivated to constantly do this and to share? What was this? What's your motivation force?
Okay, so for me, Supreme and I talked about this the first.
Yeah.
I think there's probably been a big change you've seen in me
Yeah.
from the first time I've been here to the person I am sitting on this chair in front of you. As of today.
Yeah.
And would you say that that's accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Would you say that that's accurate?
I didn't know you that well. I still don't, but you definitely seem like you're coming out of your shell and opening up.
Oh yeah.
You're doing your thing here now.
Yeah. But even on an energetic version, like you said, I used to be very guarded because I thought I was going crazy because I was on this spiritual path by myself. I was learning things on intuition. So it wasn't a manual for me to go and see. It was meditating, it was journaling, it was logging dreams I was having, it was being very mindful of my lifestyle. And once I really started getting to know Supreme and Arnold,
what was the sign you
I realized.
What was it? Said, man, this has to change. What happened in that particular day?
When I started the awakening, when I went on, the first time I went, when I did the 21-day water fast, the reason I did that was I just got, I was just looking at myself, and I was 260 pounds. Yeah, I was a big boy, and I was like, something's got to change. And it happened, I was doing caregiving for my mom at the same time. So there was just this institution let me down. They let me down. There was nothing natural, or there was nothing about curing, or there was nothing about treating people with decency in hospital that I saw. I didn't see it. People are not supposed to be surrounded with machines, hooked up to machines with beeps going in and out, and never getting into a moment of circadian rhythm. So what they do is they put you into these buildings that take you away from natural element, which is why I'm outside as much as I can be. I take long hikes. I don't care if it's snowing. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care. I'm always outside because I know how valuable it is to be having that clear link to nature. And when you're in these hospitals, God forbid anything happens in terms of, I hope no one gets sick. And when you go into these hospitals, it's not with an intention of knowing how humans are supposed to interact with nature when they're sick. It's always isolate and then put them all in this technology and never give them a chance to get into a circadian rhythm of any kind, or a body rhythm of any kind. It's always interruptions. We're going to wake you up. Oh, are you resting? Let's just wake them up beeps, binging, banging. It's just,
Time for your pill.
Not recognized.
it is so frustrating. And I was like, this is wrong. The entire time I was doing the caregiving, I was like, this is wrong. This is wrong. All of this is just wrong. All of it. This is not how it should be. And even the doctors, I call doctors angels of death. I think that their hearts could be in the right places, and they are just the
They're
result.
being taught why they're being taught.
They're the result of the
As
education.
their authority figure is correct and everything else is wrong.
Yeah, I think what they do is they get taught to just manage the symptoms of things,
Yeah.
and they're not allowed to say, no, don't tell them that you can, no, because we need them to keep coming back, and we need them hooked on this thing so that we can keep making money to fuel this institution that, oh yeah, well, yeah, they care about us. Yeah. So that's why it's important to.
So once you went on a 21-day fast,
yeah,
you had a realization that everything that you were taught is not conducive to your spiritual alignment.
that's exactly right. Because I realized that I was all the places that I thought would be a place of comfort or assurance turned out to be just full of mindless drones. And no, that's no offense to anybody, but there was no free thinking. There was no heart to heart. It was like you know what it was? It was meeting people that would regurgitate a colloquial phrase that they needed to say at a certain point. So, like, for example, if you work in an office or something, Friday comes around, oh, happy Friday, or, a guy who's married will always say, happy wife, happy life. And you're just like, what does that mean? But it's the programming that's happened. They have no individual creative thought. It's literally just repeating a phrase that they know they need to say if someone asks them a question at that point in their life. So once they fill a role,
these words,
yeah,
that you came enlightenment to, what is a switch that makes you want to say, this is wrong, I want to share this, what I believe is the right way? What is it? What drives you? Because you're driven. You're driven a lot more. I'm driven, but you're up there as much as I am, trying to spread the word of truth. Not so much your truth, but the truth of who we are and how life should be.
I think that what keeps me motivated is it's not so much as reaching a huge audience. I know that this content is not something that's for a lot of people. Because
you hear that? Not for you.
A lot of people are not going to like this stuff. They're just not. And then we will be silenced. Yeah. We could be the algorithm could say, oh no, they're talking about these topics. Let's just ban them. Let's give them like 30 views or
that's true.
Which is great.
And,
I love that.
Or they'll take you down.
Yeah. Hey, keep doing it. I could care less. Yeah. I know this is the right way. But the thing is, what keeps me going is that if there is someone that is on their path and they feel isolated, they really feel like they are going crazy. I had a mental breakdown.
You had a mental breakdown?
Oh, I thought, I was like, I cannot be the only one. Because let's, a lot of people have a truth, or they have a moment of clarity, or they feel like they're so sure about something, but it's the fear of being silenced by some entity or something that keeps people from really voicing how they feel about something. And it could be posturing. It could be trying to look a certain way in public. It could be all these things. And you start realizing that, okay, not everyone is equipped to say these things. They don't want to. But if they're going on their journey and then they just happen to see this video, or they happen to resonate with the conversations, what keeps me going is I wish I had seen something like this when I was doing it based on intuition. And I didn't have anyone to ask. I didn't have anyone to go, yeah, I was losing my mind. I thought it was this. Everywhere I go, people look at me like I'm crazy. And you're not crazy. It is something that happens to you because your frequency now has become so radically different than everybody else around you that whether you like it or not, you're going to stand out. And now you can get good at it. You can do things that can take the frequency down, so that if you know you have to go to a certain event with a lot of people, you can tone it down. Or if you really want to heighten it up, like when you're going on a hike, so that you're actually more in tune with nature, just like when you were telling me when you were at the shore. You were at the shore with the stone, and he was literally. You want to tell that story? I mean, there's just so much. But so that's what's the driving force is, if there's someone that's genuinely and being honest with themselves and is awakening up to um, spiritual matters, and then kind of the after effects of what does that mean, or how will that affect my life, how will it affect me socially, how will it affect me at work, how will it affect me doing day-to-day things, and is it just in my head? Am I just being so egotistical? Like, no, the ego dies. The first thing that has to die is the ego. The ego is gone. If you're in a state of ego, you can't even have these kind of inner dialogues with yourself to progress forward on the journey. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's all right.
So,
Long day.
like in Keith's
Keith,
case, I know he struggles with this, and he understands it completely, as well as I understand it completely. But there are slips. There are slips. Yeah, Keith.
Yeah. A
And there are
lot of
slips on me too.
a lot of it definitely was friends and family letting that influence what I had in my house around me. In the beginning, I wasn't letting things knock me off, and then it was just like, what am I missing? What am I missing? Oh, look what I'm missing. And then as I
That's
started,
ingrained in you, right?
yeah, and then
Ingrained of, oh, I want to be entertained at that moment. And even though it doesn't make sense to your body, you want to be entertained at that moment because you feel you are missing out on something.
yeah. And when I first started here, that's what Arnold was like. Are you feeding yourself to fuel, or are you entertaining? And I'm just like, wow.
Wow.
I didn't even realize there was a choice. I'm like, I'm just feeding my face like a pig, you know. But now I'm like, yeah, I'd rather, like I've learned to hydrate and not, especially if I'm working some hours, to not have, cooked food in me. Like even Arnold, a couple times, you want to go get potatoes, like when I had to work, and I'm like, sorry, like I'm working with you later. Like I stay just liquid until, and I've learned from my own pain and my own movements, that's what I have to do to show up. So, but I still just keep doing the same, chasing the tail like a knucklehead,
I mean, I think we all do, or I do particularly. I just don't beat myself up. As far as cooked food, I'll eat, I'll enjoy it, I'll move on. Because I really kind of entertain the entertainment. I entertain the entertainment as I'm gonna pay a price later, but I'm dealing with now. I wanna be complete with that thought process.
And I was taught Thanksgiving was every meal, every day. So 3 meals, stuff yourself, keep coming back. And I mean, it was a good thing I was, playful and very, busy, but I was still quite heavy. I mean, if nowadays the way these kids are, if I would add the Xbox, I definitely would have been a 250-pound, 300-pound kid without riding my bike and throwing ball around. And I mean, these kids have nothing to do but just sit and shoot each other, eat a Snickers, and let's shoot each other on the game.
And that's because they're being fed standard American diet.
Sad diet.
You should give a kid a change of a diet. That juvenile delinquent won't be a juvenile delinquent. I've seen there's people who specialize in that. They take kids that are off the street,
No, I'm waving me.
criminal, change their diet. They become mellow. They become mellow over and over, which means you don't have a bad kid. You have a kid who's not doesn't eat the God's food. You don't have a bad kid. you have a kid who's eating death food, and that affects the way he thinks. It affects his whole life.
I met a lady from here, Lori, and she's like, "Tell me about yourself." I'm like, "Well, I was kicked out of Cub Scouts. I was kicked out of Vacation Bible School. I was kicked out of school." And I'm just thinking, like, wow, like she was a well-to-do, very sophisticated, very smart woman, and she just looked at me so serious. She goes, "What were you eating?" And then she goes, "Did you ever think you were allergic to food and dyes and sugars?" And yeah, and I was like, "Wow, so I really wasn't a jerky kid." Like, wow.
Oh yeah. And
Okay,
yeah.
all right. And so that made me. Then I watch my grandson, and everybody's like, "Aren't you going to get him?" I'm like, "No. Like his parents are already feeding him nonsense. He's getting it everywhere else. No, Pup is going to be the bad Pup, which means I'm the good Pup because I'm giving him only good stuff." And he knows it. I mean, they fed him dinner the other night, and he turned around, looked at me, and goes, "Pup, smoothie." And I had to get up and make him a smoothie. And I was just like, at first I was like, I really didn't want to, and I'm like, wow, like he's asking for a smoothie. Get up, let's go. The energy just, boom, let's go. And 3 years old this month, and he knows where it's at. He knows where it's at.
Wow. Yeah. And
my grandkids smoothies all the time. But, you have to be open to it.
Yeah. And the side effects for it are you look younger, you're happier, you radiate.
You know, young girls, I'm ready.
You don't hold the weight.
Well, hey, everybody's body composition is different. The thing is, there's just benefits that come along with it that will now align. Once you really start understanding who your base created self was meant to be, and you have different experiences such as dreams and some mystical, I don't want to use that word, but a little more spiritual experiences that really start becoming clear as to this is the person that I am meant to be. And your body will change to become that person. And it's trippy. We talked about it previously on another episode, but some days you look in the mirror, you seem old to yourself. Another day you look and you look young. And you look another day and you're just like, what's going on? It's always this idea of another person could look in the mirror right next to you and still see you, but it's because this is something that's happening not on the 3D. You got to get beyond that. Now you're in the fourth dimensional plane, fifth dimension, and that's when you really start getting open to what's going on in terms of how you're interacting with the space here on this plane. And keep going. You're not crazy. You're not alone. This is the beginning of truth, and the vanity is never the point of doing this practice. It's not the point of it. And you could start off thinking you're doing it for vanity, but you'll quickly realize, one, it's not worth it because you're actually sacrificing a lot in terms of just relating to normal people. So it's not even worth it. Just because you might change in terms of looks, that doesn't mean that you will now be the quote unquote world appealing person or have the world appealing face to be on covers of stuff and things like that. That's not what this is about. This is about inner growth, realigning to God's food, realigning to nature, and reclaiming the God power you have inside. And that's literally the point of all this. This is
week after week after week, because you want to share that message based on your experiences. I love it.
Well, thank you, Arnold. Thank you, Keith. Supreme, hope you're enjoying your vacation. And
keep spiritually strong. God's food, God's garden, God's body, God's law.
Until next time, thanks for tuning in. Yay. Like and subscribe. And remember, we're here from Arnold's Way Vegan Cafe in downtown Lansdale. I'll put the info, like always, in the description. Make sure to follow Arnold on Instagram. I'll put all his info in. And Keith?
Put that Snicker bar down.